Okay, so this task is in the folder Unit 0. How can we be successful students? So the point of this unit, it's the same as the Engage assignment. All of it revolves around how we can be successful students. So the object here is by the end of all of this, at the end of Unit 0, you will know how to be a successful student in this classroom and how to be a successful student for the rest of your scholarly career. The name of the task is the Explore task. How do I answer questions or prompts? So that we have little driving questions with all of our tasks, with all of our units, with all of the folders within our units, our sequences, and they just kind of guide us as to what the task is all about and what our goal is for the task. So our goal for this task is how do I answer questions or prompts. So by the end of this, you should understand how to answer a question or a prompt, because generally every Explore assignment that we have is going to be some sort of research and some sort of answering of a prompt, okay? So we want to make sure that you know how to do that so that you're never getting stuck on any Engage assignment that we have. So let's start with the directions. In this task, you will be exploring the text in the Ancient Civilization textbook, the Maya Civilization, okay? Pages 46 through 51. We will refer to this from here on out as source number 1, okay? In order to find out more about key terms used when studying ancient civilizations. So we're going to be looking at pages 46 through 51, okay, to find out more about key terms used when studying ancient civilizations. Well, what are the key terms? Well, you will answer the following questions here, okay? So these are questions. We know they're questions because they have question marks at the end of them. They also have question words such as what. All of these questions, the 4 of them, have the same question word in the front. It is what. So the first one is, what is the meaning of the term hieroglyph? The second question is, what is the meaning of the word astronomy? This word here is astronomy. What is the meaning of the word architecture? Architecture. And then number 4 is, what is the meaning of the word pyramid? Pyramid. So let's review those words really quickly. And I want you to say them with me as I say them aloud. I'm going to do it 3 times. So hieroglyph. Hieroglyph, hieroglyph. The next one is astronomy, 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 astronomy. Architecture, architecture, architecture. Pyramid, pyramid, pyramid. Now that we know what the words are, we need to finish reading the rest of the directions. Answer the questions using the green plus yellow Hawk Talk cards. You'll find the Hawk Talk cards attached to this assignment. You can download them and have your own set of Hawk Talk cards so that you can use them at any time. If you haven't done so, you can go ahead and download them now or at the end of you watching this video. Support your answer with evidence from the text. This is when you'll use the red Hawk Talk card, also included on the document that you'll be downloading from this assignment. Down here we have a rubric. Now you're only being graded on one thing here, and that is, did you cite where you got the information for answering the question? Well, what does that mean, cite? Well, let's take a look at what we're actually going to need to do here in this task, and therefore what skills we'll need to have to complete this task accurately. So the first thing is, we're going to be required to read, okay? It tells us in the beginning that we are reading pages 46 through 51 in Source 1, also known as the Ancient Civilizations textbook. Okay, so we know we're going to be reading, okay? And if you cannot read, you'll be clicking on the sound bite that will be attached to this assignment as well, and it'll include me reading the pages 46 through 51. So you'll use that if you are unable to read. If you can read at a 4th grade level or above, I need you to read the textbook. I need you to practice your reading, and if you just listen to me, you're not going to be doing yourself any favors. So please read the text if you have a 4th grade or above reading level. The next skill that you're going to need is writing. You know you're going to have to write because it says that you are required to answer the following questions. Okay? You have to answer 4. Really just 3 because we're going to be answering the first one together. But you will have to write out the answer. When you write out the answer, you're going to have to support your answer with evidence from the text. This is when citations are necessary. So you will need to use citations or where you got the information from. So let's take a look really quickly at what is required for reading. In order for us to read, we need to have the Ancient Civilization textbook. We also need to be able to flip to page 46 so that we can start our reading. If you haven't done so already, pause this video and go and grab your textbook and turn to page 46. Page 46 should say Section 3, the Maya Civilization, as its heading. What is required for the writing? Well, what we need for the writing is something to write on because we do have to answer these 4 questions. I said I'll be answering question 1 with you, but I still need to see that you have answered it with me when you turn in your assignment. So we're going to need either a blank Google Doc or a piece of paper from your ELA notebook. You're also going to need a set of the questions. So if you're using a Google Doc, I would copy and paste those into a new Google Doc so that you have a list of the questions while you're answering them, and you can even just hit enter, delete or backspace, and then you can answer the question directly under the question itself. You don't have to do it that way. You can also use a piece of paper and just write the questions down on the piece of paper so that they're there in front of you when you're ready to answer them. You're also going to need your green, yellow Hawk Talk card, as well as the red, but we'll get to that in just a second. Those will be on the bottom of the assignment task here, and they'll be available for you to download so that you have your own copy. You can save that copy onto your drive, Google Drive, or hard drive. So what is required for citations? Well, in order to cite something correctly, we need to have the name of the textbook, okay? In this case, we're going to be naming everything source 1 from the textbook, so we just need to have the fact that source number 1 is the textbook, so we know that. And we need to have the page numbers. And if we look at the bottom corner of our pages, we can see that the page numbers are located there. You're also going to need your red Hawk Talk card. This is the Hawk Talk card that has the sentence frames needed to properly cite the evidence that you've brought in. So let's go ahead and introduce ACE, constructed response, and how you can use the Hawk Talk cards to do an ACE constructed response from these questions here. And we're going to use question 1 as an example. So right now we are going to be working out of the Unit 0 folder. How do we become successful students, or how can we be a successful student? And we're going to be working on the second task, which is the Explore task. And it is, how do I answer questions or prompts? And we already, or you should have already watched the video on using the ACE method to answer questions and prompts. If you have not done so, I will try to link it in this video, but you need to watch it. It is also on the assignment itself, so you can go back and watch that. If you haven't watched that, this will make no sense to you. So from here, we need to make sure that we have our paper clearly labeled. It's Unit 0, it's Explore, and the label of the assignment is here as well. How do I answer questions / prompts? I know it says and prompts, but you can use the slash, no worries, it means the same thing. And I have the date, today's date for me, and I have my name here. You just want to keep in the habit of doing this because we're not going to be in virtual classes all the time, and if your papers get mixed up with somebody else's, having your name is a very easy way to show what is yours and what is not yours. Having the date is a good way of organizing your information so you can look back at it. And having the title is a great way to know if you don't have an assignment turned in, you can go back to your work, find it, and then turn it in. So one of the things that you needed to do was to make sure that you had all the questions written down. So if you have your paper out and you have written down the assignment title, if you have not, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pause. I want you to write down what I have here, and then I also want you to start copying down the questions. So you're gonna go ahead and pause, and I'm gonna pause, and then we're gonna come back, and the questions will be here, and there'll be a space to answer each of them. All right, so you should have this down now that you paused and wrote into your piece of paper or your notebook, Unit 0, your name, the date, and the assignment name, as well as question number 1, because that is the question that we're going to do together. I don't recommend writing multiple questions down because you want to give some space to write, and you really don't know how long it's going to take you to finish these answers. We are, as it said in the ACE Constructed Response video, writing at least 3 sentences to answer this question. Now, you're also going to need to make sure that you have out your textbook, Ancient Civilizations, and your turn to page 46 through 51. Well, you can only be turned to 46, and we're going to start our journey at page 46. And we're just going to be answering what is the meaning of the term hieroglyph. So what you need to do right now is make sure that you are looking at the book and you are flipped open to page 46. It's going to say the Maya civilization, and I want you to notice there are some key things here that you will be using, and you need to know about this, and that is key terms, and key terms are highlighted in blue. And so you see here they are all highlighted in blue, and therefore you can read this entire thing from 46 all the way to 51. Okay? You can do that, and it asks you to do that, so you should be doing that. But you also need to know that what you're looking for is going to be located on particular pages. So you may need to flip to those pages because the task really is you're turning in answers to this question. So go ahead and pause. You're going to go pause and you're going to read from page 46 all the way to page 51. Then you're going to come back and we're going to answer the first question together. What is the meaning of the term hieroglyph? And we can see that that first key term is right here, hieroglyph. Okay, we got page 50, so we know we can turn to page 50 and find the meaning. So check it out. We also have it in blue. And so we know that this is the word. It is in blue. It's ready. And it has the definition in blue. The Maya used a writing system based on hieroglyphs. Okay? A hieroglyph is a symbol that can represent a word, an idea, or a sound. A hieroglyph that represents a word or an idea is like one of the numerals that we use to represent a number, okay? And so what it's saying is that, if you have a particular number, 1, okay? I just did that because 1 is equal to 1, okay? 1 is the Arabic numeral that we use to represent the quantity 1, okay? So a hieroglyph is a symbol, okay? So it could be a picture. We also know that this is a symbol, okay? And it means equal. So we have a bunch of symbols that we use. They're not necessarily always called hieroglyphs, but hieroglyphs are symbols that can represent a word, an idea, or a sound, okay? A hieroglyph that represents a word or an idea is like one of the numerals that we use to represent a number. Anyone who knows the numeral 5, for example, understands what 5 means. This is true whether a person speaks English, Russian, or Japanese, okay? So, you have found on page 50 the question, or rather the answer to the question that we're asking. And so, what we have to do now is figure out how we're going to take this information located here, make it into our own words, and answer it over here. So we're going to do that right now. And in order to do that, I first need to make sure that I get rid of this stuff. So I will. And then I already read what a hieroglyph is. Now it's my turn to think about how I can go about saying what a hieroglyph is using my own words. And I'm going to start with the green Hawk Talk card. So the green Hawk Talk card is going to help me, guide me to use the correct sentence frame. Again, if you don't know how to do this, watch the ACE Constructed Response video. So I'm going to use I think. So I'm going to use green. I think that the term, notice I'm using all the parts of the question, the term hieroglyph, okay, means a picture that is used as a way of writing. Okay, that's the way that I thought of it. That's not the only way you can think of it. There's different ways of thinking about everything. And so this is your chance to really put what you think, not what somebody else thinks, all right? And then you can clarify. So again, you can use the yellow Hawk Talk card, and you're going to clarify what you mean. So we know that I think that the term hieroglyph means a picture that is used as a way of writing. And I'm going to use the sentence frame, in other words. I really like it. I've said that before. It's just easy because you're literally saying in other words, and it sounds super legitimate. Like it sounds really good when you're using this. You put a comma because this is considered a transition phrase, and you are just like awesome. You're on a roll. So in other words, now we got to break this down. What do we really mean? A picture that is used as a way of writing. I don't want to repeat that because I want to explain it in more detail or in a better way that more people will be able to understand. So a hieroglyph means a picture that is used as a way of writing. In other words, we're talking about the Maya. So we can say, in other words, the Maya used pictures instead of letters in their writing. Okay, and so we got our nice little clarification statement. And we're almost done here, folks. Now we're going to use the red Hawk Talk card. The red Hawk Talk card is going to pop up. It's It's going to give us a good sentence frames to use, and we're going to say, we're going to use the one that connects to text, and it is on the red Hawk Talk card responding side, and it says, in the text, it says that. And so we're going to use that because we looked into a textbook to find the information. So, in the text, it says, and this is where I bring in my quotation marks, and this is how we properly cite our information to support. I am going to bring in textual evidence from the textbook. I am going to copy, okay, a sentence that I think best supports what I said. So I'm going to reread, I have to reread this passage that I read before. Hieroglyph is a symbol that can represent a word or an idea or a sound. A hieroglyph that represents a word or an idea is like one of the numerals that we use to represent a number. Anyone who knows the numeral 5, for example, understands what 5 means. This is true whether a person speaks English, Russian, or Japanese. So, I'm going to use the sentence that is after the blue sentence. I'm going to use a hieroglyph that represents a word or an idea is like, no, I don't want to use that. I think I'm going to use this definition straight from the book, this thing in blue, okay? So according to the text, and we don't have to capitalize it because it's not the start of our sentence and we are using quotations, a hieroglyph is a symbol. Notice how I'm following along with my finger. That's because I don't want to lose my place. I would use a highlighter, but I don't want to ruin the textbooks. So if you have a pencil, you could underline this and erase it later, but you know, we don't get textbooks all the time, so try and keep them nice. Hieroglyph is a symbol that can represent a word, an idea, or a sound. And the last part actually says it in our assignment. It says, Maya civilization passage will be referred to as source number 1, okay? And so the last bit of this is me putting this. These are called parentheses, okay? Parentheses. Open parentheses, close parentheses. The source number goes inside the parentheses. That is called a citation, and that is how I know that you got this information from a trustworthy source. Not only can we just present, we're not Facebook, so we can't just present information without actually having evidence to back it up, okay? So we want to make sure that we have used a trusted source to back up what we say, all right? Source number 1, and that corresponds to our textbook here. I hope that helps. This is the end of question 1. You will do the same exact thing for question 2, 3, and 4.